Question number 7 of the worksheet on motions on inclined plane. A small block of weight 18 Newton is held at rest on a smooth plane inclined at 30 degree to the horizontal. Smooth means that the friction is going to be 0. Friction is 0. Okay. By a force of P Newton, find the value of P when the force is parallel to the plane. So let me redraw the figure. There's a horizontal surface, then there's an inclined surface, and then there's an object placed on it, and there's a P Newton force acting on it, and it's acting in this direction. So what I'll do instead, I'll plot it at this end. I'm going to point it at this end. So P is a force moving in the upward direction. We have to find the value of P for case 1, where it's a horizontal force. Okay, now we're going to break down the weight mg into its two components. So the components are always, one is in this direction, which is always mg cos theta. So that's going to be, do we have m in this question? We have 18 Newton. So the weight is 18 Newton. So mg itself is 18. It's going to be 18 cos 30. And similarly, this one is going to be mg sin theta. So it's going to be 18 sin 30. Apart from that, there's always a normal contact force acting in this direction. Okay, so we have to find the value of P. So in the first case, P is going to be equals to forward force is equals to backward force since the object is held at rest. F forward equals F backwards. There's no acceleration, so the MA part is 0. Forward force can be P, and the backward force is going to be 18 sin 30, okay, which comes out to be 9. So 9 Newton is the answer for part 1. Any questions here?
No, ma'am.
Part 2. Now the force P Newton is not acting parallel to the slope. It's acting horizontally. So you will have to resolve the components of P as well, along with weight. Okay. So 30 degrees, object. Okay, I'm going to resolve P first. P is in this direction. So you need two components of P. One should be parallel to the slope, and the other one is going to be parallel to R in these two directions. Okay, so let's break down the component. One is going to be parallel to the slope, and the other one is going to be parallel to the normal contact force. So these are the two components of P. This is the original P, and the other two components have been drawn in red. Now, the angle between the horizontal, this horizontal, and the slope is 30 degrees. So this angle is also going to be 30 degrees because it's also between a horizontal line and a line parallel to the slope. It's going to be 30. because this angle, horizontal line, and slope makes 30-degree angle. So this is actually also horizontal line and a line parallel to the slope. So it's going to be 30 degrees as well. Okay, now let's break 30 P newtons into its components. I'm going to do it here. That's P, and this is one component parallel to the slope. And this is the other component parallel to R. That's 30. So this component is going to be, the lower component is going to be the cos component. So it's going to be P cos 30 because it's the base. So base is comes in cos, curly brown hair, or it's adjacent, which comes in cos. Cos theta is equals to adjacent over hypotenuse. And this component, I'm going to draw this here. This component is the opposite component, so that's going to be sine. Or this component is the perpendicular component, so it's going to be sine. So P sine 30. So instead of P, I'm going to plot P sine 30 and P cos 30. P sine 30 is pointing up the slope. Sorry, P cos 30. So I'm going to plot it here. Instead of plotting it here, I'm going to draw it here. So this is P cos 30 and downwards is P sine 30, which I'm going to plot here. P sine 30. There's also an mg cos 30 in this direction. So 18 cos 30. And there's an 18 sine 30 in this direction. There is no friction, so we do not include that component, but there's an R in this direction. Okay. Now we have to find the value of P when the force is horizontal, so find P again. Okay, so this time P should be, P cos 30 should be equals to 18 sine 30. Forward force is P cos 30 equals to backward force, which is 18 sine 30. So P will be 18 times sine 30 divided by cos 30, which comes out to be 6 under root 3. Acceleration is 0 because it says that the object is at rest. So the formula would be forward force equals to backward force. Now they could have made this question slightly more interesting by asking us to find R. They did not ask us to find R, so we did not use these two forces or these three forces. R पूछा होता तो फिर ये भी करना होता. Upward force equals to downward force. या अगर इसमें फ्रिक्शन ले आते, म्यू आर ले आते, तो फिर हमें आर निकालना पड़ता, तो ये थोड़ा ज्यादा बेहतर क्वेश्चन हो जाता. बट सच क्वेश्चंस वुड कम अप अगेन इन द वर्कशीट. अच्छा जी, कोई क्वेश्चन है तो प्लीज पूछो.
No, ma'am.
फिर क्वेश्चन 8 कॉपी करते. ये बोर्ड इतना फजूल है, बट फॉर सम रीजन द अदर बोर्ड इज नॉट वर्किंग टुडे. ओके, क्वेश्चन 8 करते. Here's question number 8. Particle of mass m kg moves up a line of greatest slope of a rough plane. Okay, now we have friction in the question because the plane is rough. Inclined at 21 degree to the horizontal. Let me draw this in the figure. So there's a 21-degree slope. There's an object here with mass m. It's moving up the plane, so I'm making double arrows over here. The plane is rough, so that means the friction should be in this direction. F R, whatever, friction will be equals to mu r. The frictional and the normal components of the contact force on the particle have magnitude F and N. So we have to use F for friction and R for normal contact force. Respectively, the particle passes through the point P with the speed 10 meters per second. 2 seconds later, it reaches the highest point of the plane. What do we know about speed at the highest point? Let's say there's a slope and a ball is thrown up or slided up and it reaches this point. What's going to be the final speed at the highest point? It's going to be 0 because as you throw it up, the speed it's initially fast, but then it starts to decrease and it eventually becomes 0 at the highest point, so that it starts returning beyond that and then it goes back. So any particle's speed at its highest point is always 0. ये हमने vertical motion में भी देखा था. If you throw a ball up, initial speed is u, but at the highest point, v becomes 0 and then it starts to fall back. So when it says its highest point on the plane, that means v is 0. So v is 0. Okay. So now we know u, which is 10. We know t, which is 2 seconds. We know v, which is 0. So we have 3 parameters and we can use these 3 to find time. No, time is already there, to find s, distance covered, and to find the acceleration. Let's see what it is asking for. Show that r is equals to this and f is equals to this, each correct to 4 significant figures. Okay, so if we have to find r and f, we'll have to resolve weight into its components. So this is mg cos theta, and this component is always mg sine theta. Apparently, there's no forward force acting, so that's going to be 0. No forward force given, so it's going to be 0. Okay, so I'm going to use the formula forward force minus backward force, which is F and mg sine theta. So I'm going to write 10m sine 21 is equals to mass times acceleration ma. Okay. We don't know what m is. We don't know what f is. Okay, but we know that friction is equals to mu r. Are we given mu? No, we're not giving mu. We just have to find the value of f here in terms of m. So f would be, I've moved f to the other side. It should be my ma plus 10m sine 21. But what is a? You can find a from equations of motion. A is equals to question mark. If you find A, you will be able to find F in terms of M, because you have to show F is equals to 1.416 M. Okay, so we're going to use the equation of motion where U is given, T is given, and V is given. So we use V square equals U square plus 2AS. Zero square equals 10 square plus 2A2. This gives us A equals Acha, we don't have S, so I've used the wrong equation. Should have been V is equals to U plus AT. V equals U plus AT. V is 0, U is 10, A is A, and T is 2. So we get A equals minus 5 meters per second square. Now we substitute it in the expression for F, in the equation for F. F equals minus 5m plus 10m sine 21. So minus 5 plus 10 times sine 21 is negative 1.41 m. नेगेटिव क्यों आ रहा है? Negative 1.4163 m, but F should be positive. Okay, that probably means that I have pointed F in the wrong direction. Friction, but it says moves up the line of a greater slope. Just give me a second. क्यों F negative आ रहा है?
Ma'am, in the equation you wrote 0 minus f minus 10m sine 21. In the next equation, it's f positive.
अच्छा यहाँ कोई
So
गलती.
shouldn't f be negative when you take it to the other side?
Yes. F should have been negative over here. This should have been negative. So यहाँ पे it's negative, and then negative and negative cancels out. Okay, yes, thank you. वो मैंने rearrange ही गलत किया हुआ है. Okay, so F should be equals to 1.4163 m. Okay, thank you. All right, so F is found. ठीक है, यहाँ पे I kept minus F here, and apparently I moved 10m sine 21 to the other side. So the minus F रहा मेरा. वैसे इसको पॉजिटिव करना चाहिए था, तो इन दो को नेगेटिव कर लेना चाहिए था. But anyway, आ गया F. Now we have to find R. So R equals to mg cos theta. So R equals 10m cos 21, which is equals to 10 times cos 21 is 9.33 m. So we got what we were supposed to show. 9.33 m. 336 m because it says connect to 4 significant figures. So there's also a 6 after that. Okay, part 1 is done. Part 2 says find the coefficient of friction between the particle and the plane. Coefficient of friction आता है friction के formula से, and we know that friction is equals to mu r. So we found friction in terms of m already, which is 1.4163. equals mu is what we have to find, and r we already know is 9.336 m. So mu would be 1.4163 m divided by 9.336 m, which gives 0.1517. Next part says, find the speed with which the particle returns to P. Okay. After the particle reaches its highest point, it starts to move down the plane. Find the speed with which the particle returns to P. The particle passes through the point P. Okay, so initially it was passing through point P, then it goes to the highest point on the slope, then it returns back. You have to find the speed with which the particle returns to P. Okay, let's see. So P is somewhere on the plane. Highest point is somewhere over here. ये P है. I think I need to restart my computer. P, highest point, let's call it H. Okay, highest point पे speed है 0. So as it goes back downwards, now we're going to say U is 0. You have to find the speed at this point when it returns to P. So we need the V. And what else do we have? Okay, so for initially we knew that while it was moving upwards from P to V, from P to H, the highest point U was initially 10, T was 2, and V was 0. We can use these three parameters to find S, the distance between the highest point and P. ठीक है, ये U already given था, P पे U 10 था, टाइम 2 seconds में वो पार्टिकल हाईएस्ट पॉइंट पे मूव कर रहा था, v is equals to 0 था. So use these three parameters again to find s, the distance between p and the highest point. So distance between p and highest point, उसके लिए वही पुरानी वैल्यूज यूज करेंगे. u था, क्या था u अगेन, 10. टाइम था 2 और v था 0, तो s फाइंड करेंगे. Okay, so we can use s equals half u plus v times t. So it's going to be half 10 plus 0 times 2. So yeah, I get 10 meters. The distance between P and the highest point is 10 meters. Okay. Once you have the distance, you should be able to find the V of the return journey. Acha, अभी भी we don't have the third parameter. हमें U पता है, 0 है रिटर्न जर्नी का. हमें ये डिस्टेंस पता चल गया है फ्रॉम H टू P, दैट इज 10 मीटर्स, बट V नहीं पता, अभी तक A नहीं पता और टाइम भी नहीं पता. सो वी नीड वन मोर पैरामीटर, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी A. फॉरवर्ड माइनस बैकवर्ड इज इक्वल्स टू M में कर लेंगे. सो रिटर्न जर्नी में हमें U पता है, 0 है. हमें डिस्टेंस भी पता चल गया है P और H का, वो हमने पिछले पार्ट के डेटा से फाइंड कर लिया है, वो है 10 मीटर्स. बट अब A फाइंड करते हैं. जब A आ जाएगा तो फिर वी शुड बी एबल टू फाइंड द V एज वेल. A कैसे आएगा? फॉरवर्ड फोर्स माइनस बैकवर्ड फोर्स इक्वल्स MA. अब गोइंग डाउनवर्ड्स फॉरवर्ड फोर्स क्या होगी, बैकवर्ड फोर्स क्या होगी, ये चेक करना पड़ेगा. ओके, सो इंक्लिनेशन थी ऑफ 21 डिग्रीज. ये पार्टिकल है. नाउ इट्स गोइंग डाउन द स्लोप. So you know this is mg sine theta. This is mg cos theta. That's r. And in the backward direction, you have mu r, that is the friction. Okay. So the formula is going to be mg sine theta, mg sine 21 or 10 m sine 21 minus backward force is mu r equals to ma. अच्छा जी. Now we already know what mu is. Mu आया था हमारा 0.1517. So 10m sine 21 minus 0.1517. R जो है that's equals to mg cos theta. R and mg cos theta, they're equal. So instead of R, I'm going to write mg, which is 10m cos 21 equals to ma. अब लेफ्ट हैंड साइड वाला m आप कॉमन लेके राइट हैंड साइड वाले m से कैंसिल कर दो. सो टेक m कॉमन ऑन द लेफ्ट हैंड साइड, तो ये दोनों बाहर आ जाएंगे ब्रैकेट से, और फिर राइट हैंड साइड वाले m से कैंसिल हो जाए. So we just have acceleration left on the right hand side, and on the left hand side we have 10 sine 21 minus 0.1517 10 cos 21, which gives 2.16743. ये आ गई acceleration. So अब आपके पास u है 0, s है 10, a है 2.16743 और v है question mark. So we're going to use v square equals u square plus 2as. So v equals square root 0 square plus 2 times 2.16743 times s, which is 10. इससे v आएगा, which is 5.66. ठीक है. सो था आसान सा क्वेश्चन, लेकिन बार बार इक्वेशंस ऑफ मोशंस यूज हो रही थी, बट स्टिल इट वाजंट अ डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन. अगर आप ने कोई क्वेश्चंस पूछना है तो प्लीज पूछो। आई फॉरगॉट टू गिव होमवर्क, वरना ये क्वेश्चंस होमवर्क में करना चाहिए थे ताकि बेहतर क्लैरिटी आती, ताकि आपको समझ आता कि फॉरवर्ड माइनस बैकवर्ड इज इक्वल्स टू एम ए कहाँ यूज हो रहा है, इक्वेशंस ऑफ मोशंस कहाँ यूज हो रहे हैं, ऑल ऑफ दैट। ओके, आई होप एवरीबडी हैज नोटेड दिस डाउन। चलो मैं 9 कॉपी कर लूं। Here's question 9. Particle P is released from rest at the top of a smooth plane which is inclined at an angle alpha to the horizon. So there's a smooth plane again. That means the friction is 0. Smooth means that friction equals 0. Okay. It's inclined at an angle alpha to the horizontal, where sine alpha is given to you 16 upon 65. So sine alpha is 16 over 65. If you have sine alpha, you can also find cos alpha. If sine alpha is 16 by 65, draw a right angle triangle. This would be alpha. So means this should be 16 and this should be 65. Now apply Pythagoras theorem and get the third length. 65 square minus 16 square. Yeah, that has 63. So this length is 63, meaning cos alpha is 63 over 65. तो कंपोनेंट्स में कहीं साइन अल्फा यूज होगा, सही कहीं कॉस अल्फा यूज होगा। सो सिंस साइन अल्फा को आपको कंप्लीट वैल्यू गिवन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ फ्रैक्शन, तो आप उससे कॉस अल्फा निकाल सकते हो। ओके, so we don't really need to find alpha since we have sin alpha and cos alpha. Okay, it says, okay, let's break down the components as well. This is going to be mg cos alpha, and remember cos alpha हम find कर चुके हैं. This is going to be mg sin alpha. This is going to be r, what else? Okay, so no forward forces mentioned, it's going to be 0. Oh, no, it's coming down actually. It's coming down the plane. So the double arrows would be pointing down the plane. Okay, so the backward force is actually 0 because the friction is 0 since the plane is smooth. Okay, अब find क्या करना है? In part 1 it says find the value of S. S है क्या? Top से point P तक आने का distance. A particle P is released from rest at top, which is inclined and far to the horizontal. The distance traveled by P from top to the bottom is S meters. Okay, so the total distance is S meters. Find the value of S and find the value of P when it has traveled half S. अच्छा पहले तो S निकालना है, तो हमें क्या क्या पता है? हमें पता है कि U 0 है क्योंकि रेस्ट से स्टार्ट हुआ। फिर हमने डिस्टेंस फाइंड करना है और हमें क्या पता है? Alpha हम निकाल सकते हैं, but that's not all. We should know something else as well. I think I'm missing something in the question. Particle P is released from the rest at top at of a smooth plane which is inclined at angle alpha to the horizontal. Sine alpha is that. The distance traveled by P from the top to the bottom is S, and the speed of P at the bottom is 8. Yes, so V is equals to 8. चलिए थर्ड पेरीमीटर हम निकालेंगे फॉरवर्ड माइनस बैकवर्ड इज इक्वल्स टू एम ए से एफ फॉरवर्ड माइनस एफ बैकवर्ड इक्वल्स एम ए. फॉरवर्ड फोर्स नजर आ रही है एम जी साइन अल्फा. माइनस बैकवर्ड फोर्स 0 है क्योंकि कोई फ्रिक्शन नहीं है, इज इक्वल्स टू मास है और साथ एक्सेलरेशन. ओके, सो m and m cancels. Acceleration is equals to 10 times sine alpha. In fact, we know what sine alpha is. Sine alpha is 16 by 65, which gives us acceleration equals 2.46153. अल्फा आ गया, सो अब u भी पता है 0 है, v भी पता है 8 है और a भी पता है 2.461 है. So you can find s using v square equals u square plus 2as. So 8 square equals 0 square plus 2 times 2.461 times s. So make s the subject, 2 into 2.461 divide हो जाएगा और s आएगा 13. Okay, I'm sending you guys a new link now. Find the value of s. तो हमने s find कर लिया है, which was the distance of the slope from the top to the bottom. ये देख लिया 13 है और ये कैसे पता चला? u given था क्वेश्चन में 0, टॉप पे स्पीड, v भी गिवन था क्वेश्चन में 8, बॉटम पे स्पीड, a हमने खुद निकाल लिया यूजिंग फॉरवर्ड फोर्स माइनस बैकवर्ड फोर्स इक्वल्स टू एम ए. a आ गया. ओके, अब हमने फाइंड करना है एंड हेंस फाइंड द स्पीड ऑफ p व्हेन इट हैज ट्रेवल्ड हाफ s. सो जब उसने हाफ स्लोप कवर की हो तो उस वक्त स्पीड क्या है? सो let's say this is half of s. Half of s is 6.5. u अभी भी हमें पता है 0 है और एक्सेलरेशन भी सेम ही रहेगी. एक्सेलरेशन इज स्टिल what we had find out earlier, 2.46153. तो अब v find करना रह गया, v at half of the distance s. So v square equals u square plus 2as ही करेंगे. v square equals u square plus 2as. So v equals square root 0 square plus 2 times 2.46153 times s is 6.5. इससे भी आना चाहिए 5.66. जी ये आ गया. सेम इक्वेशंस ऑफ मोशन यूज हो रही हैं और s अब हमने हाफ s किया. s 13 था तो हाफ s हो गया 7.5. नेक्स्ट पार्ट है time taken by p to travel from the top to the bottom of the plane is t second. सो पूरा डिस्टेंस t सेकेंड में कवर होता है। ये भी हम फाइंड कर सकते हैं क्योंकि अगेन ऊपर से नीचे आते वक्त हमें u पता है 0, v इज 8 और a पता है 2.461। इनफैक्ट s भी पता है, s आया था 13। So you have 4 perimeters and you should be able to find t by using any of these 3 parameters. Okay, so t is the total distance from top to bottom. Find the distance traveled by p at the instant when it has been moving for half t seconds. Okay, पहले तो t की वैल्यू फाइंड करनी पड़ेगी, फिर उसको हाफ t करके s की वैल्यू फाइंड करनी पड़ेगी. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm doing the working at the left for part 2. Okay, so part 2 में हमें पता है कि अगर टॉप से बॉटम आ रहे हैं तो u 0 है, v क्या था बॉटम पे 8 था मेरे ख्याल से, यस v 8 था, s 13 था और a भी हम निकाल चुके हैं 2.46153. अब पीछे रह गया टाइम फाइंड करना, टॉप से बॉटम तक आने तक का टाइम क्या है. सो आई एम गोइंग टू यूज v is equals to u plus 80. You can use more than one equations of motion because you're given 4 parameters. 8 is equals to 0 plus 2.46153 times t. So t आता है 3.25. 8 divided by 2.46153. 3.25 भी आता. Okay, so t is coming out to be 3.25. It's actually capital T in the question. Okay, now you have to find the distance covered. Find the distance traveled by p at the instant it has been moving for half t seconds. तो half t seconds कितने होते हैं? Half of t is 0.5 into answer 1.625. That's the time now. So स्लोप के टॉप से जहाँ u 0 था एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे आए हैं यहाँ तक, लेट्स से जहाँ पे टाइम कवर is 1.625. A is still the same, coming downwards 2.46153. अब हमने फाइंड करना है v. So we can use v is equals to u plus 80. Find the distance traveled by p the instant. Now we have to find s. So s equals question mark. How do we find s from u, a, and t?
Half times v plus u times t.
Yes. So s equals half v plus u times t. S equals half. अच्छा v तो नहीं पता ना, हमें u पता है, t पता है और a पता है, उससे हमने s निकालना है. I think it's going to be s is equals to ut plus half at square. Yes, it's sad because we don't know what v is. So s is equals to u was 0, 0 times 1.625 plus half. A is 2.46153 times t square. That's A. times t squared, t आया 1.625 squared. Okay, this should give you the distance, which is 3.25. That is the answer. All right. This classwork is done for today.